Hello, this is Christy Fulk with Create with Christy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm here to show you how to make this beautiful card. This is going to be made at my Sale-A-Bration stamp camp, and I'm using the beautiful stamp set Lovely Lattice. And you can get this stamp set free with a $50 order before shipping and tax, and you can pick this out as your free Sale-A-Bration order. It's just a gorgeous set, and if you look really close, I don't know if you can tell, it's hard to tell with the lighting, but there's some glitter on the flowers, and I did that with the Winkestelle, and I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. So we'll go ahead and get started. Here's the stamp set I was telling you about, Lovely Lattice. It's a gorgeous set. I just love the flowers in it, and it's even got a little flower here and a little border stamp. So you can get this free with a $50 order from now until March 31st. And then I'm also going to be using the rectangle stitched framelits. I love these dies. We've been wanting rectangles for a long time, and they made them even better and put stitching on them, and they're stitching on the inside and the outside. So when you die cut it, your rectangle image will have stitching on the outside, and the opening that you leave behind will have stitching on the around the outside of the opening. So that way, if you want to have an opening, you can have stitching around it, or you can have the stitching on the die cut. Okay, now we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is 3 3/4 by 5. I'm going to stamp this beautiful image with the Tuxedo Black Memento pad. I always find, especially with these bigger images, to have the stamp set facing, the stamps facing up, and then inking it this way. So that way I can tell I've got it covered, and I can tell it's covered real well. Now I'm going to go ahead and put it here close to the center. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be die cutting that later. Okay, it looks like I got a little lone paper backing from a dimensional. And always just make sure I've got it all. There we go. Those big ones, you want to make sure you put pressure on the whole stamp, and that came out perfect. And the neat thing about this stamp set, now the doily can be that the black, and it doesn't need to be colored in. All I need to color in are the flowers. It actually looks pretty just that way, but it really is neat. It makes it look like there's a pretty white doily in the background with the flowers. Okay, my flowers were colored in with a Highland Heather, and I always start off with the dark one and then work out with the light one. So all the areas that I want to be dark, I'm going to color in with my dark Highland Heather. And usually I have the centers of the flowers darkened. So as you see, and I make them jagged. So I don't just don't go around in a circle so it's a straight line. I want it to be jagged like flowers would be. They wouldn't have just a straight line of dark. So I'll keep doing that on all the flowers. So as you can see, I'm going on this one, I'm kind of going along all the lines that are in that flower. And then this, I consider this as the flower being folded up. So I think that should be lighter. So I'm going to make that lighter and then just make the base of it a little darker. So I'll just keep working with this. Okay, oh, I missed a little spot here. There's so many petals, it's easy to miss one. There we go, that looks pretty good. So I've got all the areas that I want to be dark. So now I'm going to bring my light Highland Heather in. And with this, to get it to blend, you want to go over the dark areas with it. So if I just did that, see the stark difference between those? Now if I keep blending, now look how it softened it up. Now it's just a gradual change. So that's what you're going to do on the whole thing. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think I got it all blended pretty well. I don't know if you could tell in the sped up version, but I just kept going over the dark until it blended, so it wasn't so dark. Like this one, it might still be a little too dark, so I'm going to blend over it a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to bring in, go ahead and finish these flowers. I'm going to bring my Daffodil Delight ones in. And see how this has two different sections at the center? I decided to do the exact center with the dark yellow. I'm going to go ahead, even just the ones that just have the one, I'm going to just do the dark yellow. Okay. And now I think I'll even add a little bit to this one there. And then I'm going to take my light one. As you can see, I'm using the blunt side for these, and I'm just doing a little lighter on this one. There we go. Now I'm going to bring in my soft sea foam, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the flowers. I'm going to start with the dark, and wherever these lines are, I'm going to do a squiggly line because I don't want it to be a straight line. I'm just going to do that on all of these with the dark. And these ones that don't have lines, I'm just doing it here at the base of the leaves because I want them to be a little bit darker than the ends. Okay, that's it there. Oh, there's one little thing with a line. Now, some of these smaller ones, I didn't bother to use the dark because they're so small, you're not going to see the difference anyway. So now I'm going to use the rest of it with a light sea foam. And also color over the dark part so it blends in. Okay, I'm starting to get on some smaller leaves. Now I'm going to use the blunt. It's a little easier to get those little ones done. Okay, looks like it's all done. Now I wanted to get some glitter on it. So what you're going to do, you take your clear Wink of Stella. You always want to shake it up really well. And one little tip, whenever you store these, you want them to be brush tip up. You don't want it this side. Normally, like with markers, you store them laying down horizontally. These you want up vertically with a brush tip on the top. So that's a little tip for you. And once it's all shook up, then you just start coloring over it. And that's bringing in this pretty glitter. I don't know if you can see it as I'm doing it. But just as long as you get it covered, and if you ever need a little bit more, you can just squeeze a little bit to get it wet again. A lot of times you don't need to, though. Just shake it periodically to get that glitter shook up. You don't want it to all settle at the bottom. Wish you could see this in real life. It is so pretty. The glitter just gorgeous on it. Oh, looks like I missed a spot on a stem. That's one thing when you do the Wink of Stella. And I am just doing the flowers. You can do the leaves too. And I might have done the leaves on my original one, but I don't want you to have to sit here and watch me do this for too long. So I think I've got all the flowers done now. But it gives such a pretty look. I love that. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and just grab this light one and get that colored in that I forgot. There we go. I'll put it up here, hoping you can see it some. But I love the glitter look on that. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my rectangle framelits. And I'm going to use the number 6 die from these larger ones. So I've showed this before. I always start counting from the small one. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the one I want. I'm going to take it out. And I'm going to place it on here. And it's not going to be a perfect fit, but just get it centered as close as you can. I'm going to bring my big shot in. And then the sandwich that you want to use for this is the magnetic platform. I find using the magnetic platform easier because it'll keep the die in place for me. My standard cutting pad. Put the paper down and then the die blade side down on here. Get on here as good as I can. And I thought it looked just fine. I could have gone bigger, but I wanted more of the embossing to show on the cards. That's why I went a little smaller. I think it still looks good. So that looks pretty centered. And then I'll grab another standard cutting pad, put it on top, run it through the big shot. I hear some crunching and going on, but you're not hurting anything. Okay, get this out of the way. I'll bring this back here in a minute because we'll be doing some embossing. But see, there it is. And see, this is what I was talking about. It put the stitching on the outer part, so if you wanted a window with stitching around it, you could use that. And then it's got the stitching around here. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to emboss this petal pink. I love this petal pink color. It's a gorgeous color. It's a kind of a corally pink. And I'm going to use the lace embossing folder. Now this is one of our big thick ones. That's why it's called dynamic. So you use a different sandwich for this one. So first I'm going to put the cardstock in here. With the new ones, we now have this line that goes across. It's a part of the logo. I tend to use that if I want, like these are straight, I want these to be straight. So I'm going to line the bottom of that cardstock with that line and then close it up. Then I'll bring the Big Shot in. And the sandwich you're going to use, you want the Big Shot platform. And you're going to put the folder with the cardstock in it. And you want the fold to go in first. And then put the other just put one standard cutting pad on top. You do not want one on the bottom because it's such a thick folder. And I didn't get it on there just right. This just fits in the Big Shot, so you want to make sure you get it in there straight. There we go. Run it through once. Get this out of the way. And now we've got this beautiful lace embossing. This is my favorite folder right now. It is gorgeous. So ready with that. Now I'm going to bring in a piece of soft sea foam. This is 8.5 by 5.5 for regular card base. Fold this in half. And then I'm going to attach the embossing. You can use either side, but this is the side I like the best. So go ahead and get my snail adhesive on here. Put this on. Kind of center it. Okay, now I'm going to kind of put this to the side for right now. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and we'll attach this on too. And isn't this a neat effect here? You could even go with this if you wanted more of a watercolor look. I think that's pretty too, because that's the one thing with the blends, it does soak through the cardstock. So when you color over it and over it, you get a pretty, I like that. That looks really pretty. I might have to try that on a card. I haven't done that before. Okay, now we're going to center this right in the middle. And that's ready to go. And now we're going to hurry up and do the greeting. And I'm going to be using the rectangle dies again. First off, I'm going to take a, let's see, 3" by 3 1/4 piece of the soft sea foam. This is the birthday wishes from the Itty Bitty Birthdays. I'll show the stamp set to you quick. It's a wonderful set. It's got so many different greetings for birthday cards. And the neat thing about this, I was able to get this free on stage last November. This was my Prize Patrol stamp set that I earned. And I was really excited when my number was called for this one. I'm going to be using this one a lot. Okay, so I'm going to take the birthday wishes. I'm going to bring back my tuxedo black memento. I'm going to stamp this near the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, that was really bad. Bring it up a little bit. Hard to do this at an angle. That's better. Okay. Bring my Big Shot back in. Use my magnetic platform. The standard cutting pad. And then with these dies, rectangle dies, this small narrow one is the one I'm using. So the smallest narrow one. And that fits around this birthday wishes perfectly. Just kind of get it on there. That looks pretty good. And it was okay that I didn't stamp it real straight because I can get it straight in the die. Put the standard cutting pad there. Run it through. Okay. This out of the way. Last time for the Big Shot. Get the die over here, and there is a perfect greeting in a little rectangle, stitched rectangle. And I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. So I'm going to grab my Stampin' Dimensionals and put one on each end. That's the nice thing about having two sides to the cardstock. I can hide my mistake on the back. Put this on. Okay. Take the paper backing off. And I'm going to put it across the bottom here. And I'm going to line the edge of this with the edge of the embossed layer. Make sure it's straight. Okay. Now I'm going to take, we have these beautiful frosted clear epoxy droplets. They're not in any of the catalogs right now. This is actually something that's in the holiday catalog, but you can still order it. It was carried over. And this is the clear, these are the frosted, and I decided to use the frosted. Grab my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to use the large one and just put it here on the end of my birthday wishes, just to have a little bling to the card. And that's it. The coloring took a little time, but I love coloring. I think it's therapeutic. It's just nice and calming. So I think this is a fun card to make. So I hope you enjoyed today's card. And again, once again, don't forget about Sale-A-Bration. When you place a $50 order, you can pick out a free item, level 1 item. If you place a $100 order, you can either pick a level 2 or 2 level 1s. And those totals are also before shipping and tax. So the $50 has to be on the order before we add the shipping and tax on. And also, I want to tell you about my Doily Rewards program. If you order from me, every $50 on an order, you get a doily. And once you earn 10 doilies, then you get a $50 shopping spree from me, and I even pay for the shipping and tax. And also that $50 is before shipping and tax also. So, and you need to use this month's host code. I have a different host code every month, so make sure you check out my blog, www.createwithchristy.com, to see what this month's host code is. Use that, place your order, and you will earn a doily. There's a link below in the description that you can click on, and that'll tell you all about my Doily Rewards program, because there's sometimes you don't want to use the host code, so make sure you check that out. It's my way of rewarding all my customers. I like to thank them for my business because I really appreciate all of you. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's card. If you want to be notified every time I post a video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel below, and I hope you have a great day.